Hair takes time to grow. 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, and to get the results, you need professional analyzation, instrumentation of the right instruments to read your condition, to reread it just like a blood test to find out if what the doctor's prescribed is getting better. And if you've lost it, then the sophistication of the 3D technology of hair replacement like it's never been before. And Jeffrey Paul, here to share with you from Hair Loss Solutions TV, what are some of the causes of hair loss? In my book, Women's Hair Solutions to Thinning and Loss, goes through the entire detail of every type of hair loss and makeovers that represent women that have gone through the experience of dealing with the emotional side of hair loss and then finding the solution that helped them look beautiful inside and out. But today I just want to kind of discuss with you what I discuss with my patients when they come into my private practice. We spend an hour consultation with each person, whatever their needs are, whatever their cause of hair loss is, and we go through a history and we go through a series of tests and evaluations and assessment. And at the end of this program, I'm going to provide you with the professional assessment that I use for you to do at home yourself to help you even be more aware and educated of the solutions that may be available. But let's talk about hair loss. There is the natural hair loss, the genetic predisposition hair loss, where someone is born with a gene. It may never appear, that hair loss may never appear, or it may appear late in life, or as it has now over the last decade, appears much earlier, such as the 20s, 30s, and 40s, because of different triggers that we're going to talk about. Triggers are things that cause a predisposition of natural hair loss, female or male pattern, to begin to accelerate, and that can happen at any time. What causes some of these triggers are stress. Meditation is very important for that. We're going to share with you solutions that even at home, caring for yourself, but also professionally, then treatment-wise and hair replacement-wise, there are an array of solutions that will be provided in your profile online for you to kind of examine, see videotapes, and understand better the possibilities of dealing with your hair loss, either preventively, correctively, or replacing that hair that's been lost. Male pattern is much different than female pattern. Male pattern starts in the areas of the temples, the crown, and a male will generally go bald on the top of the head above the parietal bone, it's the bone of the skull, and not go bald or lose his hair on the sides or back. That's why male pattern is a good candidate for surgical hair replacement through transplant. But female pattern hair loss is much different pattern. The pattern is a pattern that falls just behind the hairline, and it begins to just thin out, and the hairs begin to miniaturize, and it's like a pebble in the brook. It can get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it can extend the entire head of hair, where she may not be bald, but she has gotten thinner and thinner and thinner, and as time goes out, more and more of that scalp is being seen. Those are the two patterns of male pattern and female pattern. They are not exclusive to gender, but it's only 5 to 7% of females that have a male pattern. Understand that relationship is if you see your pattern, that immediately gives you an understanding of, I'm falling into that category. Natural hair loss, that is genetic predisposition. It's from my genes, it's from my history and my family and what's been passed down to me. Can I do anything about it? Yes, yes, and yes, more than ever before. And again, as I said, we will talk more about that, but also in your profile that I'm providing for you, you're gonna be able to see videos that you'll be able to link to of women, men that have gone through these experiences and found a solution for them. But now there's alopecia. And alopecia is a Latin word for hair loss. Hair loss in spots, alopecia areata, where all of a sudden a spot appears, maybe a stressful time, whatever it might be, a spot here, a spot there. It could be permanent, it could grow back. The process of alopecia is that the white blood cells perceive that the healthy hair follicle is a disease and it attacks it. Then there's alopecia totalis, where the entire head hair is lost, eyebrows, and maybe the eyelashes as well. And then there's alopecia universalis, the entire body, the hair is lost. Now, more than ever, a possibility of treatment. The Lilly company, they've come out with a drug that has given some success. You'll hear some of the success stories in our makeover stories, and you'll find that the reality is there is a possibility, not a guarantee. But there are other solutions as well, if it's not a drug use, that have been found to be very successful solutions for so many people and patients of ours. Trichotillomania. And trichotillomania is where someone begins to pull their hair or twist their hair. And it can be on the head in a pattern or in a place, a whole head, just an eyebrow. It can be any place. This is a compulsive disorder, but that was always what was thrown up, that it was a compulsive disorder. They would try to treat it with drugs or, counseling, but the success was not quite where they wanted it to be. Now, with greater research and development, with some of the better psychologists that you'll see that I interview on Hair Loss Solutions TV, they have taken this apart and found that there's different types of compulsive disorders, and they are addressing each one differently and personally, and it goes from children all the way to adults. Now, there's also the reality of your health condition. The thyroid is always one of the questions I ask. How is your thyroid? I ask, how's your iron? I ask, how's your B? And how's your D? Why? Because those affect the hair follicle. Those affect the nutrition to the hair. Speaking of nutrition, you Burger King and hamburgers and McDonald's and all those other fast foods that block not only the arteries of our hearts in our body, but it blocks the healthy blood supply getting to the hair. If there's been a reduction of good, healthy nutrition, there's also less to the hair. That's why we address that with trichology and good coaching in my book, Women's Hair Solutions to Thinning and Loss. I go through a whole chapter on nutrition, not complicated diets, not difficult or starvation, just good basic fundamentals like protein, like salmon, like peanuts, like things that can really help give the nutrition to the blood supply. Transdermal patches with 12-hour time-release nutrition directly implemented to the blood supply on the back of your neck going to your hair follicles. So there's so many solutions now than ever before. So if you're experiencing hair loss, the earlier the better of detection, because if you do, there is much more in the trichology. What is trichology? The study of hair and scalp and how to stimulate the greatest growing factor of the scalp to give the hair the greatest ability to sustain itself and to maintain itself as long as possible. And that goes through a series of examinations of different instruments that have been created by the laboratories that we work with, and also now the advanced level of technology of being able to see the follicle like never before, with the ability of the new instruments that are able to give us the sight, what we could not see below the surface, and the instruments to be able to read that and the software to register and diagnose the relationship of what the best treatment for someone on early stage hair loss, and to give them the very best sustaining ability to maintain that. Or there's also dandruff and there's oiliness. Wow, that's a scalp problem that can be either or, dandruff, dry scalp, or oily, or the combination of those two that block the follicle. So the hair that is already maybe weakened because of other triggers or other genetic predispositions or stress creates the inability for that hair to grow to its substantial fullness at that point. Last but not least, friction is an enemy. The friction of headbands, hats, hoods, collars, you get a friction going on. That friction is not dealt with, especially when the hair is weaker. Then you break hairs off and you cause hairs to get more and more damage at that point. And remember one important thing, that hair doesn't grow overnight. And when you see these commercials, somebody rubbing something on their scalp or rubbing something in the shower on their hair, and they all of a sudden have the after picture of a full head of hair, don't believe those things. They are not anything more than just fairy tales. Hair takes time to grow. 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, a month. And to get the results, you need professional analyzation, instrumentation of the right instruments to read your condition, to reread it just like a blood test, to find out if what the doctor's prescribed is getting better. And if you've lost it, then the sophistication of the 3D technology of hair replacement like it's never been before. Swim, shower, sleep, live 24/7 in a beautiful hair system. This gives you a complete array of all of the makeovers, all of the other options that are available today in the hair loss world. So if you're interested in doing your own personal evaluation, step by step, I guide you all the way through. And I have videos attached to that document so that if you fall into the category that the matrix takes you, you can see what that kind of solution means, from cosmetic camouflage on the top of your scalp, from strand by strand attachment of hairs, to integration, to trichology and treatments, to even full head systems are all there, including the surgical procedures that are available today. So I hope this helps you a little bit. Let me know in the comments down below. Take the evaluation and assessment, and then let us know through either a phone call, an email, or book a consultation with us to be able to help you truly find the solution that's best suitable for you. Have a beautiful day, and remember, beauty begins within.